Good morning, friends, and welcome to another edition of Top 5 Tuesday. Now, today, December 7th, it's a big day in history, and we're going to take a look back at country music history and take a look at some dates that will live in infamy. Today, December 7th, is the 80th anniversary of one of the most pivotal days in world history. It was on December 7th, 1941, that Pearl Harbor was attacked and the United States entered World War II. As President Franklin Delano Roosevelt called it in his address to the nation, a day that would live in infamy, where everything that came after was changed because of the events of that one day. And every musical genre has those as well. Days that changed everything that would come after it. And we're going to take a look at them. The days that will live in infamy in country music history. Now, country music has a lengthy history, almost 100 years since the first known country albums were recorded. So we're going to take a look at it in a two-part series. Today is covering the first half of country music's era. But these are 5 days that will live in infamy in country music. Going in chronological order for this one, so not a top 5, but here's 5. And first off, we go for August 1st and August 4th of 1927, the birth of country music. It was called the Bristol Recording Sessions. A recording company headed to Bristol, Tennessee, looking for new acts. Now, they had had big success already with big band music and some jazz records, but they were looking for something that would appeal more to the common man. So they just invited anybody who wanted to try out to come on down to these recording sessions, record them, and we'll see what the executives would think, and maybe you'd get a recording career out of the whole thing. And out of those recording sessions came 2 of the founders of country music. If you take a look at the pillars of the genre, it started those 2 days in Bristol, Tennessee. On August 1st, A.P. Carter and his family would walk through the doors and record some country gospel music, and the Carter family was born. And it was just 3 days later that Jimmie Rodgers, the singing brakeman, would enter and make his first recordings, the first of what became known as hillbilly music and transformed into country music. But the first 2 big recordings happened August 1st and 4th, 1927, the kickoff to the country music genre. Moving along, we go to September 23rd, 24th, and 25th of 1935. Those were the days that Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys had their first recording sessions. They would bring Western swing to the forefront, changing a little bit of the sound of country music by adding a couple of instruments to the roster. Now, Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, they had a bit of a big band feel to them, but one of the big keys that they brought to that recording session was an 18-year-old kid named Leon McAuliffe, who brought a new instrument that had never been used in a country music recording before, the steel guitar. Thus became the birth of the steel guitar sound in country, and an instrument that was used heavily from that day forward into the 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, used a little more sparingly today, but that pure country music sound that comes from the steel guitar, it started on those days in 1935 with an 18-year-old Leon McAuliffe and Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. Our third game-changing date in country music was May 3rd, 1952. That was the day that Kitty Wells walked into an RCA Victor recording studio and recorded It Wasn't God Who Made Honky Tonk Angels. Not only a fantastic hit for her, it would become the first #1 hit by a solo female act on the country charts, and is one of the best response songs in country music. The song was an answer to Hank Thompson's Wild Side of Life, a song about a guy whose bride-to-be runs off with another man and wondering why God made honky tonk angels, talking about faithless women. It was begging for a response from a woman, and Kitty Wells had that response. The song saying it wasn't God who made honky tonk angels, as you said in the words of your song. Too many times married men think they're still single, and that's caused many a good girl to go wrong. A daring statement for a woman to make in 1952 in a very male-dominated and conservative genre, but Kitty Wells stood up, had her voice heard, and broke open the door for all the many great women that would follow. So Kitty Wells recording that song, that has got to be on the list of game-changing days in country. Our next game-changing day in country music was just a few months after Kitty Wells' big recording session, and it was January 1st, 1953, as country music mourned the death of Hank Williams, the first huge superstar in country music history. He had transferred over into the television medium as well. Everybody in the United States knew who Hank Williams was. He was the superstar of country music, and to lose him at the age of 29, that hit a lot of people very hard, and it would be the start of several tragedies that would befall country music in the years after, but it all starts with the death of Hank Williams in 1953, a shock to the system for many country music fans. Wrapping up part one of our Days That Changed Country Music, it is the 4th of July, 1973. That was the date of Willie Nelson's first ever 4th of July picnic, which would become an annual event following this one. But it was the first one in 1973 that's sort of the unofficial kickoff of the outlaw country movement. Now, Willie had lived in Nashville for more than a decade prior. He had tried his go at a singing career there. As a songwriter, he was a star. A lot of his songs had been performed to great acclaim by other artists, but as he tried to get his own singing career off the ground, wasn't quite working, and he got really sick and tired and fed up of that Nashville establishment and decided, I'm going to do it my own way. And so he traded in the clean-cut haircut and the suit for a pair of jeans and his long braids, went back to his hometown of Austin, Texas, and decided he was just going to do it the way he wanted to do it, and he wanted to see how many people would follow him on that journey. So the 4th of July picnic was kind of a feeler to see how many people would be interested. The answer to that question was more than a few, because a ton of people descended on Austin to take part in this fantastic musical endeavor. And not only who you would imagine as traditional country music fans from Texas, hippies showed up there. There were people from all walks of life that wanted to see Willie Nelson and this great storyteller perform his music his way, and it led to the birth of the outlaw country movement. So July 4th, 1973, a game changer in country music. That is our look at the first 5 days that will live in infamy in country music. Join us again next week when we go even further past 1973 and take a look at 5 more days that changed the game in country on Top 5 Tuesday.